Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Theater for the New City and MBL Productions presents the New York premiere of Still at Risk, the new play by Tim Pinckney. Under the direction of Andress, it begins performances on March 7th, and I caught up with both of them here at the legendary Sardi's. Well, I'm thrilled to be sitting with you two here at Sardi's.
So glamorous.
Right, it is glamorous
yes,
here, right?
Always.
Yes. So let's talk about your new play, Still at Risk.
Yes, please.
How did you come about to write it?
It's funny how it started. It's something I've been talking about for a long time, and it was something that I was actually, anybody that would listen, I would start complaining because I had this story that I wanted to tell, and I wasn't really sure how to do it. You know, I just wasn't sure how I wanted to tell the story that we tell in Still at Risk. And the first time I really started to put pen to paper about it was, or fingers to computer, was Carl and I were working on a benefit for the Actors Fund. And I was walking from Carol Music with Rebecca Luker. I don't think she knows this, but and I was telling her, and I was going on and on.
Yeah.
And I had this story that I wanted to tell. I just don't know how to do it. And she, Rebecca essentially said, "Why don't you just shut up and start writing?"
Yeah.
So I kind of did. I sort of shut up and started writing. And this play has been through a couple of incarnations, but it wasn't until about I did a small reading for friends, and Carl, thank God, was there, and. When it was over, I really felt, when going into it, it was one of those readings, I said, this play is done, I love it. My agent was like, you got some work to do. And I was like, great, thanks. And then
Agents.
Carl and I came, and we came here. We came to Sardi's.
Oh.
Sat at the bar on the second floor. And
Very
Carl,
glamorous.
Yes.
Yeah, very glamorous.
Showbiz.
Crying into my margarita. And he said, did you ever think about this? Did you ever think about this? And I was like, oh my God. And so finally I said, well, then we need to do this together. And
That's
we've
wonderful.
been working on it together since then.
So explain to our audience what the play is.
The play it's a story of, the main character's name is Kevin, and Kevin was very active in ACT UP and a big part of the movement during the late 80s and early 90s.
Okay.
And since the epidemic has changed and the climate has changed and this whole world that he was caught up in of protesting and activism has shifted and has in many ways disappeared. And he is now this sort of lost soul. He's catering. He doesn't know what to do with his life. So the play really is sort of his journey to get him so that he can move forward. I seem to be very interested in writing about people that are in their own way.
Sure.
Yeah, he's sort of a man who finds himself dancing as fast as he can, but doesn't hear that the music has changed. And he's trying to find his way forward, and his support group, his friends, really try to help him get there, whether they realize it or not. And that's what the journey of the play is. In a sense, he's still at risk of not finding himself in his new purpose.
So Carl, what attracted you to want to direct it?
Well, I really fell in love with the characters that Tim wrote, and his sense of humor is he's one of my favorite voices as a writer. He's so funny and yet so moving, and within a breath you'll be laughing and then clutching for your tissues. So it's so visceral, this play, and yet so fun. And we're just rehearsing now, and watching these actors, as Tim and I always like to say, they tear into it like fresh bread, and it's just marvelous. Even just first read-throughs and everything. It's just really exciting. So it was the quality of the writing and the story itself that just felt so current and timely.
Talk about the cast.
Oh God, these actors.
Little talent.
Yeah, just a
little bit.
Little talent.
Just a smidge.
Yeah.
No, it's an extraordinary group of actors. Feel very, very lucky. We have Robert Gomes playing Kevin, who I've known forever, and he's just delicious in this. And my dear pal Amy Hohn, who has done every reading of this play, and she actually is getting to do the play, which this just doesn't happen. People go through readings. When I was an actor, it was you'd work out all this stuff, and then it would go somewhere, and then you weren't called. So I'm so thrilled that Amy is doing this. It means the world to me that she's in it. We have the wonderful Ryan Spahn, just from Daniel's Husband.
Right.
This nimble, funny, smart actor. He's amazing. And Christopher Hanke, who I've admired for years, who just walks in and takes over the place. He's in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And he's hilarious and charming. He's perfect for this. And then Jonathan Walker.
Fabulous
whose work
Jonathan Walker.
Yeah.
I've always loved, seen him in so many of Charles's plays, on TV and other things, and it's just so strong. It's really exciting, and it takes my breath away, and it intimidates the hell out of me because
I love
they're so good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I good enough?
Does put one on their metal.
Yeah, boy, and how.
So let's go back to that night you're walking down Rebecca Luker. I mean, that's the best bit of advice of saying, just sit and write.
Right.
So I know nothing is easy to do, but was this, did the play just sort of happen for you? Was it easier to write once you started sitting down, putting it on, on paper?
Well, the play initially, which had a different working title at that time, the version that Carl saw, and that when I did finally sit down to write, was a little farcier, and it was really more about this event that still takes place and Still at Risk, but it was. I was happy. I knew it was funny, and I knew there was great stuff in it. And then I knew there was some heartbreak in it, and that it had a lot of the things I wanted, but it wasn't the story I wanted to tell yet. Carl and I started talking. We eliminated 2 characters. Amy's wonderful character wasn't even in the play yet. That was my friend Carl's idea to add the character that Amy plays.
Yeah.
And her voice. It just changed everything, and then suddenly the play opened up. Mm-hmm. So the play we've been working on together since the first reading that we did of this was at the Vineyard, and since then it's sort of been the play I wanted.
Yeah.
And now, right now, I'm very proud of what's there. So I'm excited.
So this character starts in the height of the AIDS crisis of the late 80s, right?
Well, that was where he was.
he-
Yeah, it's not where the play
is now.
is like 2005.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
But it's like everybody forgets what people went through then, the fight that everybody went through. Everything shifted how everything is looked at now, right?
That's what really inspired this. It was just sort of, I don't know. I hate to use the word frustration, but having, I worked at Gay Men's Health Crisis for 4 years. I lost my best friend in 1992, and lost more people than I could count. And being a part of this community and watching the community just be ravaged by AIDS. I certainly, I'm so glad that they're not going through it in the same way that we did, but it wasn't that long ago, and it's important that people understand that what they have today, any way that this community has moved forward with any rights, with marriage or any rights, it's because of these people that died.
Yeah.
Literally died so that you could have what we're all enjoying now. Enjoying something that is still always, of course, constantly being threatened.
And plus we have the responsibility to protect and defend the same things that we're talking about.
What do you hope audiences walk away with?
I hope that I hope it inspires conversation. We did the world premiere of this was in San Francisco last year at the New Conservatory Theater, Ed Decker's beautiful New Conservatory Theater. And we would have talkbacks, or we would advertise talkbacks, which as a playwright, I hate. But now I've kind of grown to love them because
They can be really exciting.
they can be really exciting.
Yeah.
It's not
And thought-provoking.
Yes. And the show would finish in San Francisco, and nobody would leave. The entire audience would stay, which I had never seen in my life. And there were a couple nights when I came back home where I would hear from the actors, and they were all walking out into the lobby, and like these sort of impromptu talkbacks because people just wanted to talk about what they just saw, which is wonderful. What's interesting is we had a group of LGBTQ kids that came one night. And, these kids were like 16, 17 years old. And, so I was like, what are they going to grab onto in this play? And it was right after the Parkland massacre. And this one kid said to me, this is our story. He said, my friends are being killed and my government is doing nothing.
Yeah.
I understand this story perfectly. And obviously that was certainly not my thought when I wrote the play, but I was like,
How smart.
Jesus, that you could move somebody in that way with this story, because I think it does reach beyond, what the subject matter of the play is. I think it has more reach than that.
Carl, for you as a director, what do you hope audiences walk away with?
Well, I hope they come away with a great appreciation of the story and the time that we're talking about, and that an awakened sense of responsibility to still stay vigilant and to still keep talking.
Yeah.
and that they enjoy what we're putting forth, and that they fall in love with these characters too, and want to encourage other people to come and share in the story too.
Sure. Now you start when?
We start March 7th and we play through March 31st. We're so excited to be down at Theater for the New City in the East Village. You know, it's a great place for this play because it has such a history of activism, and they still do. And so it's, you know, I've done a lot of plays with Charles Bush down there, and it's a great sort of, it's great to be down in the Village, isn't it, Tim?
I love it down there. You know, and it's such a great neighborhood. It's changed so much from, you know, when we used to go dancing at Boy Bar.
Totally.
It's a little different now, but it's fantastic. There's so many great restaurants and places to drink, and it's just, and then the theater, I love. You feel the history. It's in the walls.
Yeah,
it's really.
I was saying, there's so much energy. There's so much history,
and you never know what's going on there. It's an art gallery. It's 5 theaters. It's just, you know, personalities roaming around, and you just never know who you're going to bump into. And it's really magical. Yeah. And so it's great to go down and have a real New York experience.
Yeah, because they get the coolest audiences of every age, every diversity that are just looking for really good art.
Absolutely.
And to be moved by a piece.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the Actors Fund, you have a benefit coming up, right?
We do. We have on March 11th, the day after we open Still at Risk.
Right.
We're doing a one-night benefit of titled show with all the original Cuckoo Birds. All 4 of them are coming back, directed by Michael Buress, and it's going to be an amazing night. It's selling really well.
How exciting are those? Because they raise so much money for the Actors Fund. They put
so much
together
fun to do. Yeah.
like these magical moments. I mean, like they're playing our song, one of my favorite musicals that I saw. I remember so vividly sitting at the Imperial Theater, and then you bring back the Actors Fund, brings back, you know, Lucy Arnaz and Robert Klein and, you know, Debbie Shapiro and the rest of them. I mean,
it's well, that's, you know, it's funny, that sort of was started because last year we did this amazing Thoroughly Modern Millie concert. You know, it's Sutton and Gavin, they all came back, and it was just this incredible love fest. That, you know, the whole cast got back together, and I've never been in a room like that before. And after that, and the success of that, it's like so many people said, you know, you should do a reunion of. And, you know, some of them are like, I don't think so. But a lot of them, you know, were great ideas.
Totally,
and, you know, and Robert Greenblatt and Lucy Arnaz came to us with this idea, and we were like, yeah, let's go.
Totally.
So and that orchestra, Larry Blank conducting that amazing orchestra, was, you know, just to hear that sound again, it was wonderful.
Well, finally talking about this play, I mean, Still at Risk, what are you two enjoying the most about working together on this and collaborating? There's something really special between a writer and a director.
Well, I love working with playwrights. You know, I spent my whole career working, you know, fostering relationships with playwrights. And I find it very exciting, all the pre-production work and developing the script and the conversations and just getting to spend time with my pal. Yeah. You know, and now we're, you know, in the thick of it, in the midst of it, putting it all together. And so, you know, it's electric. It's real, and it's exciting. You know?
And, you know, we've been friends forever. You know, Carl and his husband come to our house for New Year's Eve and for parties, and you know,
script reading.
You know, Carl spoke at my wedding. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, so it's a family affair, and that's makes it very, very special. Great. Congratulations on this. March 7th, so people can go to the websites. They can
please. You can go. We're all over Instagram and Facebook.
Totally.
And, theaterforthenewcity.net and smarttix.com.
$25. What are you going to see for $25? Come on.
Come have a great experience in the Village. Yeah.
To see a really great play for $25. I'm there.
Great. That's all that matters.
All right.
Excellent.
Love you guys.
Thank
the
you
best.
so
Perfect.
much.